Hello everyone, my name is Olga Labai. I'm a lawyer specialized in upstream oil and gas, and this is my Smart Contracts blog. Let's begin. Contractual Risk Allocation Procedure is by far my favorite instrument in upstream oil and gas contracting. Contracting doesn't start when a procurement professional goes out to the world, to the market, and procures drilling rig, oilfield services, supply of the oilfield equipment. It starts from internal deliberations of which this specific operating organization, procuring organization, whether it's operator or one of the contractors, which risk it is prepared to take, which risk it can insure, which risk contractually it needs to shift to contractor, and which risk it should retain with itself. In a risk management world, there is a rule that should not be broken, and it should not be broken exactly and particularly in upstream oil and gas projects and upstream oil and gas contracting. That rule is the risk should be placed with the party who is best placed to manage that risk. So when we prepare as an organization how we allocate the risk, how we are going to allocate the risk consistently throughout our contracts, we actually are doing ourselves a massive service, and we actually massively save ourselves from inconsistencies, discrepancies, losses, and the worst of the worst, placing the risk to someone, to one of the contractors, or placing it to ourselves, not being, or to that party not being the best party who can manage that risk. I've been talking about contract risk allocation procedure for a while. Here and here, somewhere you will find other videos where I describe contract risk allocation procedure, what is it, and how to actually start applying contract risk allocation process to your own operations. Whether you rent critical safety equipment for the wells, whether you provide fishing services, and only fishing services because you're a boutique firm specialized in this, whether you're a turnkey drilling contractor, whether you are a supplier of downhole equipment, whether you are a supplier of the stationary, you have to think about contract risk allocation procedure. And that's why there will be situations when your business is at the edge. And that edge is, shall I accept this contract with this operator, with this client, with this procurement organization as a contractor, or it's too risky? The measurement process to make that decision, and to make that decision with being fully informed, is done through contractual risk allocation procedure. Every big organization in upstream oil and gas has one. BP, Shell, Schlumberger, Weatherford, and I can name another few hundreds that have contract risk allocation procedure. The quality of the wordings might be questionable. The efficiency of contract risk allocation might not be there. It has to be improved, and it has to be upgraded as the organization moves to another business lines, to offer another service, to cut the service from offerings. On every stage of the project, if you're a procurement organization, you need to know that your contract risk allocation procedure is simply different from the explorational drilling to maintenance of the downstream asset. There will be a need to look at those contract risk allocation procedure at every stage of the project, and depending on which services you offer, depending where you are time-wise, business-wise. But what certainly cannot be underestimated is that organization without contract risk allocation procedure risks to get into the situations where the leakages of the capital, the losses, the monetary losses, cannot be contained. There is no mechanism, and that mechanism is the procedure But if you don't have one, you don't have a mechanism to contain that loss that happens through inefficient contracting. One of my favorite examples is where a contracting organization was awarded a contract for cementing services. So the well was already messed up, and the contractor's organization has to come and cement the well. The value of the contract is $220,000. It's an onshore well, it's in Iraq, and the contractor's organization has to come very quickly and cement the well and leave so the operator can re-drill and continue producing. The contract that has been given to contractor's organization, to a contractor, where I was a lawyer, contained the indemnity. The indemnity that contractor had to give to the operator for the full loss of reservoir. How do you like it? That risk, through the contractor risk allocation procedure of the contractor, we had one, and that was very clear in the procedure that we are not going under any circumstances with anyone to approve that risk. We're not going to take it. However, the operator didn't have one. So the only thing you as a procurement organization, when you don't have the contract risk allocation procedure, the only thing you can rely on is the opinion of your lawyer. In this case, the opinion of the lawyer was absolutely out of line against any industry standards of contracting, against any common sense. A contractor's organization cannot take that excessive risk. B, it cannot insure the risk of losing the reservoir. C, the reservoir is already in a questionable situation, the state of the reservoir, because we are cementing the well that has been messed up, excuse my French, during the drilling. And yet, losing about $250,000 because of non-production stage, because of actually waiting for the well to be cemented and then re-drill, this procurement organization, a very large Asian NOC, was relying on their lawyer and could not, because they didn't have any instrument to talk to that lawyer and to reason that lawyer. Without that instrument, they could not basically stop the negotiation and say, look, to their own legal team, look, in our contract risk allocation procedure, we clearly see, because we have decided 10 years ago, 5 years ago, or yesterday, that the reservoir risk, as an operator, we can insure it. We are best placed to manage that risk of loss or damage to the reservoir. So we're not gonna try to impose it on our contractors, more so the ones that are coming for just a short period of time for cementing or fishing or other oilfield services. One of the major reasons why you need contract risk allocation procedure as a procurement professional, why do you need to insist on one, is that you actually have an instrument of influencing the legal team that otherwise, without that process, will have all sorts of opinions, all sorts of experience. And when they do make errors, as in this case, a grandiose professional error, you will be able to basically show the standard of contracting, show the standard of risk allocation to your own legal team, and make them act and negotiate within those rules. Your influence as the influence of a procurement team, of the supply chain director, of a supply chain executive will be undeniable. And that's exactly how your own professional standards of Chartered Institute of Procurement and Supply have demanded you to. You exactly are not only allowed but required to have that influence. Why? Because by influencing the risk allocation process and negotiations through the risk allocation process that you have created and basically participated in, you are saving the time on those inclarities, errors, lack of experience, and basically sometimes just the professional arrogance that comes from the procurement organization legal team. We don't negotiate. Well, we do. It's in the risk contract allocation procedure. We think that the risk for the radioactive exposure should be entirely on the contractor. Well, it cannot be, because it's a small contract, the small oilfield services. We think, we heard, we fantasized, we're all gonna be out of the question. And that's how upstream procurement projects should be run. There is an attack on our industry. If you have noticed, we should be excellent. We should basically lead ourselves and lean ourselves towards excellence in the very difficult times for the industry. And that's where you cannot underestimate the effect that creation, drafting, and further application of the contract risk allocation procedure is going to provide you. There are a couple of really interesting videos on my YouTube channel that you can see. The links are somewhere here on the right or on the left. And I invite you to join my live online class, where in details I will talk about the contractual risk allocation procedure, where to start creating it. There will be practical steps and tips how to actually create it, what focus has to be there for which type of organization, whether you're revenue generating organization, being a procurement organization, you have to be at the same time, or you're only a procurement organization because you're an operator of the upstream oil and gas project. Thank you for listening, and I'll wait to see you at that class. And please bring your experience. These drafts, these instruments are so different in every organization. Sometimes it's an Excel file, which I'm not a big fan of. Sometimes it's a written procedure, like some of my clients who really invested time and effort into drafting really great procedures. And then it's an integration process. And if you can share your experience during my live online class, that would be great, so we can all become much more efficient and unite ourselves in this knowledge gaining exercise in the times that we live as the industry. Thank you for listening.